It's December and this is the first episode of the Totally Wicked Vape Podcast. This year we celebrated our 10th anniversary in the vaping industry, and the podcast is a different way for us to connect with you vapers out there. This episode, Tim and I introduce ourselves and tell you our personal vape stories. Christmas is coming, so it's time to talk all things festive. We disagree on wine choices and we delve into our Dragonman Christmas campaign. Welcome to the Totally Wicked Vape Podcast.
Hi guys, so this is Rachel and Tim. Welcome to the first episode of the Totally Wicked Vape Podcast.
Today we're going to be talking all things Christmas, from fantastic seasonal e-liquid to awesome gift ideas. But first we're going to introduce ourselves, tell you who we are and our own vaping stories.
So go on then, Rachel, you first.
Okay. So I've been vaping for about 7 years now. I was a Totally Wicked customer before I started working here, which is really lucky.
Back at Wigan?
Back at lovely Wigan. So I was a customer of the Wigan store. I didn't stop smoking for any health reasons. It's really bad. And I always feel slightly guilty when I say it.
Money?
It was money. It was money for me. I couldn't afford to smoke anymore. Even back then, 7 years ago, it was way too expensive.
Yeah, because I ended up smoking rollies to try and minimise costs.
Same, but it doesn't help.
No.
It just still kept racking up. So for me, I woke up one day and when I was budgeting for the week, was going, right, well, I can't spend any of that money because that is all for smoking things. That is all for rolly stuff. And then I was like, it was so ridiculous. Like, you have this epiphany moment of how ridiculous that is.
Oh, definitely. It got to the point, I remember when I was at university and it was still too expensive. Jesus, that's quite a few years ago now. And it got to the point where I wouldn't empty my ashtray. So I could simply get the dubs and undo them and make fresh rollies. And that's... it's a sign of times being hard, isn't it?
It's horrible. It's when you think about these times, you look back now and you're like, how ridiculous it was. But me and my husband were exactly the same. We were like, we will not spend that money. And then I'm like, hold on, we have a child. Like, and it was so ridiculous. It was such a ridiculous moment for me because I'm sat there going, we've now done this for years and I don't know why. And I'd driven past the Wigan store and I thought it was a different kind of shop.
Oh, that's no surprise though, because it was. How can we put this diplomatically? It was uniquely marketed, wasn't it? With the,
Absolutely, but where I worked, somebody had come in. I worked at a petrol station at the time, and someone had come in and explained to me what they were, and I thought they're a fad. It's a fad. It's not gonna last. It's not gonna go anywhere. And then one day I woke up and I went, no, I'm not going to spend that on that. I'm going to go down. I'm going to get one of these electric fag things, and I'm going to stop smoking. And I remember my husband saying to me, it's the most ridiculous waste of money. It's so silly. It's such a ridiculous waste of money. You shouldn't be doing it. You're going to spend £35 on this thing and it's not going to work. And I thought, you know what? No, I'm going to do it. And so I went down and they set me up with my first kit and they were so fantastic in there. And I just remember thinking, it sounds so conceited, but what a level of service you got. Like they spoke to me like I was a real person and not like I was silly for not knowing what they were, and they were really cool about it all, and they got me set up on some 18 milligram menthol, which was awesome, and I went home and thought, this is the best thing.
Titan
menthol, 18 milligram, because I was about a 20-a-day smoker. And I went home. As I was driving home, I was like sneakily, so they're a bit taboo then. Like even 7 years ago, people looked at you funny when you had an e-cig in your hand.
I suppose it's like anything when you've... not necessarily got a full understanding of what's going on, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I drove home with it and I walked in. I was so excited. My husband's like, that's so ridiculous. And I went, no, just try it. You need to try this. And he went, okay, go on. Give it to me before I have this rolly. That was it. I had to go back the next day and buy another one because he won't give it me back. So we ended up with 2 in the household in the space of 24 hours because as soon as he tried it, he was like, no, this is it. This is it. And now we both work for the company, which is just insane. I can't believe it.
So... tell us, how did that come about? Because obviously me and you know each other because I joined the same store in Wigan, the part-time retail assistant, about, well, when did you start? How much longer before me?
It must have only been 8 months.
Oh, really? It was that recent?
Yeah, I'd not been there super long. It must maybe 8 to 12 months before you joined. I think it was it 2012? I think I joined TW.
Don't even ask me what year.
Yeah, I think it was 2012. I'm just coming up to 6 years now. So I think it was 2012 I joined, and then you maybe just about a year after. But we were in there all the time, both of us, trying, because you do what every customer does. I'm only going to ever vape menthol. And then someone goes, have you tried this orange candy? And you're like, no, why would I want to smoke orange? And then you try it and you're like, okay, I'm going to have every flavour in the world. Let me just buy a 10-bottle multi-pack all the time of different flavours. And so I got to know the staff really well, and I didn't smoke from the moment that I started vaping. I haven't had a cigarette since. So that's been 7 years now since I've not had a cigarette. Not once, not had a draw on one, nothing.
Look at you, I can't boast that. I've never been tempted to have a cigarette whilst I've had my e-cig with me. But there's been a couple of occasions, like on a holiday, where I managed to lose my electronic cigarette on day 2 of a 2-week holiday. And as a result, there wasn't any vape shops nearby. I was in Hungary and was back on the Marlboro Reds then. So,
but that's how a lot of people go, though, and there's no shame in it. I always say, like, people used to come into retail, you will know this, and they'll go, oh, but I've had 10 ciggies this week, and it's like, and what were you
how many would you have had otherwise?
Exactly. And so there's never any shame. Everyone's journey is completely different. With me, I instantly didn't want to smoke anymore, and I was super lucky to have that. My husband was exactly the same. But yeah, it was an interesting journey, very quick one for me. But after going into the shop for about 12 months, they advertised a position, and I thought, you know what, I've got to know them really well, and I may as well go for it. And yeah, and then I'm still here all this time later.
How many years now?
Coming up to 6. Part of the furniture now. Don't think
I'm getting that way. Yes, I suppose introduction to me was starting with yourself as a part-time retail assistant at the Wigan store. And then, well, gradually worked my way into the business, and here we are now. So I'm now the senior store manager for the North. Spending a lot of time away from the store at the minute, though, up and down the country, as you know. I was a 20, well, I'd probably say 25, 30 a day smoker. Marlboro Reds, it was the hard stuff. Up until the point when obviously I had no money and it was the rollies. But we won't go back to that. I think the fact that we've already mentioned that once was more than enough. And yeah, I've never had any compulsion to go back to smoking, apart from the exceptions of when I've lost my device, because I'm still addicted to nicotine. But, well, even on those occasions when I was away and I was back to smoking because obviously we were at a music festival. So there was a bit of drink flowing, should we say. And the cigarettes I could never get rid of were the ones when I was having a drink. So I was probably smoking about 30 a day for that 2-week period. And, you know, coming from vaping to then going back to smoking for that short period of time, 5 days in, and I could feel it on my chest.
Wow.
No, it was quite profound to see the difference in the way my health was after such a short space of time. So much so that my mate, who I was travelling with, actually worked in Africa at the time. So he had a boot full of cheap cigarettes that he was supplying us. And he said to me, so I won't do his French accent. He doesn't like it when I do that impression. So he said, do you want to take some cigarettes back with you? And I was like, there's absolutely zero chance. As soon as I get off that plane, I've already rang my lift and told them to pick up my spare e-cig on the way to pick me up. And as soon as they arrive, I'm never touching a cigarette ever again. No, if there was ever a point where it was reinforced the benefits of me getting off cigarettes, it was then. So, you know, maybe it was a good experience that I ended up going back to cigarettes for those 2 weeks.
It might have been. Again, what that highlights is how different everybody's journey is. Me, instantly stopped, never wanted to go back. You, on the odd occasion, you went back. Some people will always go back to cigarettes, but that's okay. And I always used to say this to people, is that's okay. If you can't get away from that one smoke in the morning, then you've gone from 20 a day to 1 a day. Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah, I think you're right, because you get that with some of my customers that come back in, and if you don't express that to them, and they are made to feel like they've done themselves wrong by slipping back into cigarettes, then it's very easy for that to develop into, oh, I can't do this. There's no point, I'm disappointed in myself. It's not something that I'm ever going to get away from. Whereas if we do support people by saying, look, we've all, or most of us, present company accepted, we've all slipped.
Yeah.
But look at the progress that you've made.
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the most successful things about vaping. Not only the fact that people are empowering themselves, it's not a prescription from the doctors or that kind of thing, but also the fact that if you still can't get away from that cigarette in the morning with a cup of coffee, as an example, that's one that a lot of our customers have. Well, don't worry about it. If you're not having the other 19 throughout the day, then you've made significant progress.
And that's all that matters. Progress is all that matters. Even if you're cutting down 1 or 2, that's progress. That's okay. You don't have to worry. This actually links in really well to the next thing that we're going to talk about, which is Dragonman. So, have you seen Dragonman? I
most certainly have, yes.
So, I star in Dragonman.
You do? Yeah.
I am the face that you see on the video. So, I'm super close to it. It's been a crazy journey recording it, and I will say first up that no, I am not acting.
I was going to say, I think a natural way to lead into this, if you feel comfortable with it, is, to me, it was obvious that has special significance to you, the message in it. So would you mind talking about what that significance is?
Not at all. I'm completely comfortable with it. So it was written by Neil, who is my boss, who is the head of marketing, and it was written for his mum. He won't mind me talking about this. It was written for his mum because he lost both his grandparents to smoking related diseases, and so it's really personal to him. This isn't written by a company. This isn't written specifically for this. This is a personal poem written by somebody who works for our company and who's extremely passionate about what our message should be. So Neil wrote it. He read it to me. I cried. We then got somebody else in the room from the marketing team. He read it again. I cried. He then said, I said, we have to record this. And we all agreed. All of us in that room, we said, we have to record this. It's too important a message. It's the truth, no matter how harsh it is. And we have to get it recorded. So I said, right, okay, well, let's do a proof of concept. Let's go out there. I'll read it to camera and we'll see what it looks like. So we did 2 takes, and what you see on the video is the second take. On the first take, I cried.
On the second
take, I cried. It pulled at an emotion for me that I didn't even know was so close to the surface. It was very difficult to explain at the time, and it was only later that I realised what it was. So I lost an uncle to lung cancer very quickly. A few years ago now, good while ago, but I remember it vividly because all I remember is seeing Uncle Mike, and then 2 weeks later he was dead. It was literally that quick. So he got a cough, he went into hospital, he died. And it was that fast, and he'd smoked cigars all his life.
Very little time to process that.
No time to process it. Even though I was younger, I can just vividly remember the shock of that happening. Like, when you're a kid, like my mum smoked for my whole life, and so you see people and you're like, oh, it's just a normal thing. Especially when your parents smokes, it becomes this normal thing, a part of everyday life. And then when someone turns around and says, right, okay, this person has died because of this, you're like, whoa, like, that can kill people. It doesn't stop you smoking. It didn't stop me.
Yeah, it's a strange concept, that, isn't it? When you're young, and something that is so prevalent throughout society, and then all of a sudden you actually learn, as you just said there, that kills people.
Yeah, it's a bad thing, and it's like we don't want to say it. And I'm not trying to shame anybody who smokes. We are adults. We make choices. If that's your choice and that makes you happy, I am all for it. I think that we have our own minds, And that wasn't what the purpose of the video was. Dragonman was not to go, you're a bad person because you smoke. That wasn't what it was. It was to hopefully make people who were sort of sat on the fence about it to go, do you know what, actually, it ruins people's lives. And my mum was very poorly this year and she finally stopped smoking, which was fantastic because she's been smoking since she was 11.
That's cracking news.
So she finally stopped smoking. She's on a Switch 2 now, which is fabulous because get her on a Switch 2 with a Switch mental. And so I'm super happy about that. She only really uses it, same as you, when she had a drink. That was when that's her trigger time. She was worried about that. So she's really happy. But then I realised what it was, and it was, that could have been a poem that Tyler had written about me or his dad. Me and my husband. That could have been a poem that he'd written because he'd lost one of us. Because I was poorly all the time when I smoked. I got chest infections constantly.
They were 10 a penny, weren't they?
Yeah.
I was discussing this with one of our customers the other week, which I used to get at least like 3 or 4 chest infections a year, and I would say if I've had one, I can't remember it, and in 5 years I've not had a chest infection.
Yeah, and so it was such a crazy thing, and I think that's what was doing it, was that I was like this. And there were so many people who were relate to that statement as well, that this could be my child writing this about me. And it was such a profound video to be a part of, and it was such a touching thing to be able to do. And the feedback has been great, which is good, because people realise that we're not doing it to say you're a bad person because you smoke. We're not doing it to say, look how good we are because we don't smoke anymore. That's not what it is. This is a personal poem from a member of our staff that we believe had to be shared. And it's difficult for us to share messages because, as you know, rules and regulations and guidelines and all that sort of stuff is very difficult for us to educate people. There are still over 7 million smokers in the UK. And there are going to be people this Christmas who are thinking the same thing, that I need to stop now. And what we're saying is there is another way to do it. Like, you can break free from the chains of smoking. You don't have to. It isn't a disease. I don't believe that smoking is a disease. I believe that it is a choice that we make. I believe it's very difficult to move away from, but I don't think it's something that needs to be prescribed away. You can do it yourself, and that's what we can help.
Well, that goes back to us talking about one of the aspects of vaping and its success, in my opinion, is people empowering themselves, making that choice to quit smoking. And what I'll always try and say to people is, that are sat on the fence, is that we're not talking about that moment where you go into the doctors and you get some patches prescribed, and there is a definite end period for your smoking. You know, you get those patches and you practically, you're going to chain smoke those last 10 cigarettes that are in your packet. Because you're not wasting them, you know, you're not going to just throw them in the bin, and then you have quit smoking. You know, that's it, and you're never going to have one again. And I think that point is one of the key things that stops people from quitting, because you're like, it's the fear that's associated with that. I'm never going to be able to do this again, and it's a crutch for people. And I try and explain to customers, or not necessarily customers, people that I know that might be on the fence about vaping, and say, look, you are not going to miss anything. You know, what you're afraid of missing is the feeling of you getting that nicotine hit that you're craving because you're addicted to nicotine. With electronic cigarettes, you're inhaling it, you get the throat hit, you're getting that nicotine delivered in a very, very similar fashion. It just doesn't have the disadvantages, shall we say politely, of smoking cigarettes. I had to actually message Neil when I'd seen Dragonman, because I knew that he wrote it. He's quite a wizard with words, isn't he?
He certainly is.
He's a creative soul, and I personally have a story that it conjured, because my mum's mum and I was extremely close with. She used to childmind me while my mother was at work. And she got a chest infection, went to the doctors, prescribed antibiotics. Didn't go away for about 6 weeks, 2 months, as I remember it anyway. So she went back, and it was bronchitis. So they sent her away with, I can only imagine, some stronger antibiotics. Yeah. A period of time after, she went back again, and it was TB. So it was gradually getting progressively worse through 3 diagnoses until finally they said, well, we're really sorry. We were wrong, and you've actually got lung cancer. And it was pretty far advanced.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, it's obviously an emotive subject. And, you know, it was without going too far into it, because we wanted this podcast to be light-hearted to an extent, that it was one of the most difficult things that I've had to experience. So obviously it rang quite true with me, as you can tell. And I felt compelled to message Neil, because obviously it was evident to me that he'd been through something very, very similar.
I think that's what it'll do with a lot of people, is there are so many people that experience this all the time. There are people that experience it right now. And the message we were trying to get across, and the words do come across as harsh. It is smoking kills, and it ruins children's lives, no matter how old they are. And that's the truth. And there's no simpler way to put it. And so I hope that what people take from it is what we wanted to portray, which is that you can help yourself. You can. There is a different way to do things. And no matter how much they don't want us to say it, electronic cigarettes are a way that you can do that. You can break free from that cycle that you're in. Slowly, at first, maybe. But I hope that that's what people take from it. It was amazing to be a part of, and heart-wrenching and horrifying all at the same time, but all for a good reason, is that we need to get this message out. You need to listen. People need to see it. And yes, it's hard-hitting, but that's okay, because that's what we wanted. We wanted it to resonate with people. We wanted it to be impactful, and I think that that's what we've got.
Yeah, I think that without sounding insensitive to such a sensitive topic, I think your delivery of it was very good, Rachel.
Thank you.
Although I know the intent wasn't necessarily to give a great delivery, it was just a true heartfelt emotion that you were going through. It was very well done.
Thank you. It's one of the things I was surprised about, is a lot of people have said, oh, your acting was so great. And I'm like, I'm not acting. That's legit. That is not me acting. That is me reading a piece to camera. I have no acting skill. I don't have any background in anything like that. If there's one thing I can't do, it is act. I'm just too honest. But it was interesting, and it's one of the feedbacks is, weren't you good? Isn't you acting dead good? And I'm like, no, I'm not actually acting. That's legit me. Like, that's just me reading to camera. So yeah, thank you for that. It was very good, and although heartbreaking, it was definitely interesting to be a part of. Okay, different subject. Christmas. So excited for Christmas. Yes, I am the Christmas person. I love Christmas. 1st of November, my decorations went up. I have no shame. I refuse to have shame about this, Tim. I see your face. Nobody else can, but I can. I can see the face.
I only look incredulous because, well, I live on my own. So I have this debate every year of whether I can be bothered putting up the Christmas decorations.
You have to.
Well, in the end, having 2 cats, so they enjoy the Christmas tree. I don't enjoy them enjoying the Christmas tree, but that tends to be the thing that prompts me to put them up. But that's it. I'm not a Scrooge. I enjoy Christmas. It's just all that effort of pulling it out the loft and then setting it up.
See, I love the effort. I love the effort. And I was super excited this year because we released a Christmas, limited edition Christmas e-liquid. And, okay, the listeners do not know, but you know me, so you know that I don't vape flavoured e-liquid anymore. I only vape double menthol. There will be people out there that are like me. People always look at me funny. But I only vape double menthol because it's not really a flavour, it's more of a feeling.
Yeah.
And that's what I need. That's what stops me from smoking, and I'm too fussy. I get bored.
No, you fussy.
I get bored so quickly with flavours that I'm changing them and I can't put a different flavour through a different atomizer. I have to change my atomizer every time. So, yeah.
Is this the appropriate point to also mention that you eat a packet of crisps with a spoon?
That's a different story for a different time. We will go into that at another point.
Yeah, we need to revisit that at some point. The listeners need to know who they're listening to, Rachel.
Mental note, we will go back over that at some point. But yeah, so I only vape double menthol, but I like trying the flavours. I love that I get to try them and see everything that the guys are coming up with because it's so amazing. So I knew that so many people would be excited for this flavour because it's a true Christmas flavour. Gingerbread latte.
Oh, yeah.
You can't get any more Christmassy than that.
I love a bit of gingerbread.
I like a bit of gingerbread. I like it. I can't vape dessert flavours all the time. To me, it's like a desserty flavour.
Yeah.
So for me, it would not be an all-day vape. It would be something that I would vape of an evening, probably on a Sunday.
We have a specific day.
Yeah, Sunday vape for me, it would probably be Sunday evening when you're all snuggled, you've had your bath for the week.
Fire on. Fire on. Christmas tree up in mid-October.
Christmas film, Die Hard, obviously.
Oh, well, you're starting a whole fresh debate there because all I keep seeing all over Facebook in December is Die Hard actually a Christmas film?
Of course it is. It's set at Christmas.
Well,
there's a tree. It's a Christmas movie.
I'm going to remain impartial on that.
But yeah, so that would be me. Christmas movie, couple of teats that have it in a specific e-cig, couple of drawers with a nice coffee in the evening, coffee or tea. That's probably when I would vape it. It seems I'm in the minority because it has been ridiculously popular.
Oh, it's been very popular. I really enjoy it. I can't use it all the time because it's a very strong flavour.
Yeah.
Now, I like a good strong flavour, but I'm similar to you in the sense that I mainly use tobacco flavours because my main trigger for wanting a cigarette used to be when I was having a drink. And I'm quite partial to a glass of red wine.
Really?
Really.
Though
it may surprise you.
Never knew.
So my thing was that I didn't want to be tasting blackberries or blackcurrant whilst I was having my glass of red wine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I've always stuck to tobacco flavours. That being said, though, if I do stray away from hobnailed cobbler, which is my mainstay, then it's usually a dessert style flavour such as Mickey's Girl Sticky Toffee Pudding or something. So I'm kind of into the dessert flavours, but I don't use them religiously.
Every day.
So as soon as I heard that we had gingerbread latte, I was like, right, well, I like gingerbread. I like vaping.
And you love coffee.
And I'm all right with coffee, really. I don't function until I've had 2 in the morning. As most of my team will be able to tell you. So I was right on it, straight into Pete Gibbons' office and going, Pete, what we're doing about this? I need a bottle. It's not released yet, Tim. I know it's not, but I'm going away next week and I need a bottle. So they managed to source me one. And I love it and keep it in my car. So I've been topping myself up on my travels with gingerbread latte. Yeah, it's very nice.
It has. It's been really, really popular. And I think it's just because you can't go wrong with them two flavours. Gingerbread and latte, it's such a Christmas thing, especially in this country now. We never used to be, but it's super popular now.
I blame Starbucks.
I also blame... there are other coffee companies. Just say. There isn't just Starbucks.
Are we making sure that we're not doing brand endorsement?
Other coffee companies available.
I blame all the coffee companies.
But it's taken off, and I think that people will be sad. It's limited edition, so I mean, there are some customers who will be stocking up, I think, to make sure that they have enough. Because I was super not surprised because it was a bad flavour. I just thought that is such a, like you say, it's a strong flavour, but not unpleasantly so.
No,
it's so difficult to try and talk about e-liquid.
You just got to try.
Let's just address this right now. It is so difficult to give a review on e-liquid because taste is so subjective.
Yes.
That, as an example, at work, like double menthol, people say, I don't know how you can vape double menthol all day, every day. I have for 18 months. It's the only flavour I've used.
Why double menthol and not ice menthol?
I don't know. There's a certain kick to the double menthol, and ice menthol, I find, has a flavour. And that's not what I want. I don't want a flavour. I want something that it's like cooling rather than a flavour. And I used to smoke menthol cigs. So I had menthol cigarettes. Then when I moved to rollies, I always had a rollie with a menthol filter. Ew. Ew. With a licorice paper sometimes.
Oh, no. That's just all levels of wrong.
I know. And so and I'm like, well, I don't understand how you can vape caramel all day, every day. And so taste is so subjective. What wine I love, Lambrini, you probably can't stand.
Wine? Did you just describe Lambrini as wine?
Hey, cherry Lambrini is okay. There are other wines available.
Cherry Lambrini.
So we would have very different wine tastes, as an example, or food taste. What I like in food you don't like. So it's super difficult. I don't like giving reviews of e-liquid. It's one of the things I try and stay away from, especially if I'm writing anything. Because if I say, I love this flavour, and it is so amazing, and you're going to absolutely love it, someone is going to get that and go, I don't like this. How can you say that this was nice? Because I think it's vile. And so it's a difficult one, but I think that it's such an all-round nice flavour that even if you can't vape it every day, like me and you can't, because we have our go-to flavours that we absolutely religiously will stick to, then I think everybody will like it. I don't think there's anyone that's going to go, ugh.
Well, you can try it beforehand anyway.
You can do, yeah. So you can go in store and obviously try them all first, which is fabulous. It's one of the things I love about our shops. Shameless plug, but there you go. It's one of the things that I loved when I was a customer, is that I could go in and I could try the flavours.
Yeah.
That was a thing for me, and I remember being a customer when that was happening. Like, it never used to be a thing, and then they brought these flavour boards in, and the fact that you could go into a shop and try something before you bought it was just outstanding for me. So yeah, go and try it, guys, because I think that they will like it.
Check out the great new Red Label flavour Ginger Red Latte in Vaping style this Christmas. Taste the spicy, sweet and warming gingerbread in a freshly brewed latte for only $2.99 per bottle. Grab them quick, because once they're gone, they're gone.
So I believe it's now time for us to do a little bit of shameless plugging. Is that right, Rach?
It is shameless plugging time, Tim. So, as it's Christmas, vaping stuff is really good to give as Christmas presents, especially if you already know a vapor or if you know someone who's been thinking about it. And so there are different offers though this year, which is really cool, because some people shop online, some people go in store, and some people don't want to do both. And so there's choices. If you want to shop online, there's slightly different offers online this year than there is in retail. So online, there are some awesome kit offers. So if you get a Pipe X, which is a fabulous Christmas present, if I don't say so myself, because who does not want a funky pipe?
We always see a pickup of the pipe sales around Christmas.
Because it's such an awesome gift. It looks so good when you give that over, because it looks like a full-on proper pipe.
Yeah, well, it's really well done. I mean, it's got a proper, real hardwood bowl.
Yeah.
And not only that, especially in comparison to the old pipe that we had, which was the E-Pipe 2, this one actually uses a 0.7 ohm coil as well. So it's, you're getting a good amount of flavour and vapour from it.
Yeah, really good vape from it. So that at the minute, these offers, by the way, online are only until the 24th of December. So be quick. But you get 5 bottles of e-liquid for that at the minute, which is great because it's like 2 gifts in one. Because you're getting them a funky e-cig kit and you're getting them 5 bottles of e-liquid as well, in any flavour that they want. We've also got online the Active, which is, it's such a cool kit. I was so on the fence about this one when I saw it. And then when I tested it, I was like, no, this is so cool.
It's that speaker. The quality of the speaker is brilliant. I mentioned it in the demonstration video, but it really was a shock to me that it was creating sound of that quality and that volume.
And there's no distortion from it either. It's even at full whack, that thing really just puts out your tunes. It's so good. And it's shockproof and it's water resistant. And so don't go dunking it in water, please, whatever you do. But if you're out walking your dog and it's raining, fantastic.
Yeah, because customers are a little bit shocked when we're demoing it in store, and then you just casually throw it to the side onto the floor. Like, you can't be doing that. Well, no, it's all right. Don't worry about it.
So that is also the same as the pipe. That comes with 5 bottles of e-liquid at the moment. And then for someone, especially who's thinking about making the switch, and maybe they haven't yet, the Slim at the minute, the Arc Slim, which I love as a first kit. I think it's so simple to use. That comes with 3 bottles of e-liquid at the moment. So there are some really, really good kit offers online at the minute. Shameless plugging for online done. Shameless plugging for in-store, Tim.
Oh, right, okay. So our offers are slightly different. Now, one of the key things that we're doing this Christmas is the Scope P and the Scope S, which are brand new starter kits. And the Genius Bits of kit, using eco technology, so they output a lower voltage into a lower resistance or higher power ATI. And as a result, you might only be getting either a 480 bar battery, for example, on the Scope P, yet you're getting significant amounts of time out of your battery off a single charge as a result of this. So they're really, really good starter kits. We're giving both of those with 3 bottles of e-liquid. We're also packaging them up so you can get a little gift bag. So if you've if you've got someone in your family that you wanna get off cigarettes, then it's ideal present. And of course the pipe as well. Well, like I said, we do tend to sell quite a lot of those as presents over Christmas. We've got that available with 5 bottles of liquid, the same as what we've got online.
See, that's really good. The packaging is really cool as well, because you take everything away. You're literally walking out the store with something that you then give as a gift.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything with it.
No wrapping, which is one of my bugbears. One of the things that I hate the most about Christmas is wrapping presents. As most of my family and friends will know, they either get the gift bag that they gave me something in from the year before, or sometimes I'll just put it in there. Well, if you've got many presents in a plastic bag, then it's okay, because you're just using that for transport. It's not like the presentation of them. So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to one-up you because I wrap my presents in tinfoil.
Oh, really?
Scrunch and wrap.
Do you put a little, what they call them little things that you stick to?
A little tag?
No, not a tag. Like
a bow?
The one that looks like a pom-pom thing.
Yeah, like a little festive bow. Yeah, on the odd occasion. Try tinfoil. Absolutely fantastic. Right, okay, so...
I think I'll stick with my plastic bag.
Maybe stick with a plastic bag. This was the first episode of the Totally Wicked Podcast. In the next one, it's going to be a little bit different. See, no one's going to see us now till... Well, you're not going to hear us until the new year. Which is fine, because it means we get to enjoy Christmas and New Year and all that sort of stuff. And the next one's going to be different, because we are going to be talking all things armed forces. And we are going to have a special guest. So we are going to have one of our brand ambassadors, Andy Reid, with us, who is such an inspirational guy. And I'm super excited for everyone to hear his story, because it's emotional and heroic. And there will not be a dry eye when Andy is talking, because he's a good guy. And he is proof that there are good people in the world. And so I'm excited to get him on here and have him chatting with us. That'll be really cool. But yeah, so not until next year, unfortunately.
So from us at TW, have a very happy Christmas and a cracking New Year.